Before the great flood, before the rain, before the warning, there was a man who still believed when the whole world had forgotten God. And God spoke, not in a whisper, not in a dream, but in a voice that shook the heavens. Noah, I have seen the wickedness of man, and I have made a decision. Noah stood still. His heart was trembling, but in his eyes there was no fear, only faith. He had heard the voice of God, and he would obey. Build an ark, God had said, of gopher wood, with rooms inside. Noah did not question. He did not hesitate. He picked up his tools, and he began. Day after day, tree after tree, Noah and his sons worked with hands that never stopped. The forests fell, the wood was gathered, and the work of God moved forward. People gathered from the village. They watched, they pointed. They had never seen anything like it. A massive structure rising from the ground in a land where there was no sea. Hammer after hammer, plank after plank, Noah worked not for himself, not for fame, not for comfort. He worked because God had spoken, and that was enough. His wife, his sons, his daughters-in-law, together they built, together they believed, a family united by obedience and by love for a God they could not see but fully trusted. But the world laughed. Noah has gone mad, they said. Building a boat in the middle of dry land? There is no flood coming. And they laughed and laughed and laughed. But Noah kept building. He did not argue. He did not stop. He did not explain himself to a world that could not hear God's voice. He simply obeyed. And the clouds above began to change. And then, after years of labor, it stood, massive, enormous, impossible to ignore. The Ark of Noah, built by faith, built by hand, built by the command of Almighty God. And then something happened that no human being had planned. From the forests, from the mountains, from every corner of the earth, they came, 2 by 2, animal after animal, drawn by the hand of God. The great elephants moved slowly across the earth, their footsteps shaking the ground, step by step, toward the ark, as if they had always known the way. Lions walked beside lambs, zebras beside wolves, giraffes bent their great necks to enter the door, and the birds filled the sky, a river of wings, all moving toward one place, one ark, one salvation. And Noah stood at the door, guiding each creature, welcoming each pair, his hand steady, his eyes full of wonder. This was not just a boat. This was God's mercy made of wood. Finally, Noah's family entered. They looked back one last time at the world they had known, the fields, the village, the faces of people who had not believed. And they stepped inside. And the door closed behind them, a door that God Himself shut. And the sky above the earth began to darken, cloud upon cloud, silence upon silence. Something was coming. And then the rain began. The first drops fell on a world that had never seen rain before. Slowly at first, then faster, then harder. The fountains of the deep broke open, and the heavens poured down. Now the laughter stopped. Now the mocking voices were silent. The same people who had laughed at Noah were running, screaming, searching for high ground that was disappearing beneath their feet. The waves rose like mountains. The storm roared like 1,000 lions. And in the middle of the chaos, one ark, rising and falling on the water, safe, unbreakable, protected by God. Inside, Noah knelt in the darkness. The thunder shook the walls around him, but his heart was still. He prayed not for rescue, he already had rescue. He prayed in gratitude for a God who never breaks his promises. And around him, the creatures rested. The lions lay still. The doves sat quietly. In the middle of the greatest storm the world had ever seen, inside the ark, there was peace. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain fell without stopping. The mountains disappeared. The cities disappeared. The whole earth was swallowed by water, and only the ark remained, floating on an endless sea. When the rain stopped, Noah opened a small window. He sent out a raven to search for land. The raven flew back and forth, but found nowhere to rest. Then he sent a dove, white wings against a gray sky. It flew over the endless water, searching for a sign, searching for hope, searching for land that was not yet visible. And the dove returned. In its beak, a small green olive leaf, fresh, alive. Noah held it in his hands, and for the first time in 40 days, he smiled. The earth was returning. Slowly, the waters fell back. The mountains began to appear. Green hills, dry earth. The world was not destroyed forever. It was being renewed, washed clean, given a second chance. And the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. After months on the water, solid ground beneath them again. The journey was over. The promise of God had been kept, every single word of it. Noah stepped out first. His feet touched the earth. The sun was shining. The air was clean. His family followed one by one. The animals poured into a new world, and Noah fell to his knees, and he worshipped God. And God spoke again. I will never again destroy the earth with a flood, and as a sign of my promise, a rainbow stretched across the sky, colors no one had ever seen before, a covenant, a promise, forever.